What's up, fellas? We're back in business.
Yay!
HBCU. Um,
What's up, everybody?
I want to be clear about. So we ended last week talking about Kanye and mental health, and it's funny. The little few things that he said when you take it away from the issues that he may be having. I mean, because that's not funny. That's serious talk. So we want to expound on mental health, and this is not a Kanye West episode because it's far more important things. Not saying he isn't important, but far more important things for us to discuss, and that's mental health in the Black community. Man, so I'm gonna start by asking y'all, as far as your experience as a child, not necessarily a child, teen, or whatever, just coming up, man. Like, what is your experience with mental health? Like, did somebody put a name on it? I'm gonna give you my spiel so you can kind of see where I'm coming from, and also if you got any personal experiences, just let me know. But from where I'm coming from, and for me, the closest thing I got to recognizing mental health and knowing what it was somebody calling another person crazy. I don't pay no attention to them, they crazy. And that behavior could have been, they could have been erratic. They, as far as just doing wild stuff, you know what I'm saying? They might put a dog at the end of the road in a cage, or crazy stuff you see in the hood or in the country or wherever you may be. The next thing I may have seen was children on Ritalin. So you always heard about it, oh man, he got to take that Ritalin, but that was associated with that child being bad.
Right.
No way I ever knew what ADHD was. You know what I'm saying? Or ADD. You didn't hear anything about that when you was a kid, in the Black community. Either that nigga was bad or that nigga was crazy. It wasn't no broad spectrum. And to be a really insensitive term that we heard a lot, I heard a lot as a kid, was retarded. When somebody was a little bit slower, had a learning disability, things like that. They said that word more times than I can know. And, my personal experience with that, I had a cousin that had a learning disability. Couldn't learn past a certain grade level. And, even then we knew, but I have an inability of putting a name with what he had going on at the time until now. And to me, that's kind of strange. We're going to speak a little bit more about it, but I want to hear y'all, what y'all felt or saw when you was coming up. DZ, you want to start, bro?
Yeah, man, well, my grandmother, they called them simple-minded.
What's that playing?
Boy got an intro music.
My boy got stuff playing in the background.
I'm trying to cut that down out. It just started playing. I was trying to get the turn out.
You did a good job, dog, because I ain't even know it was coming from you at first. My boy was just chilling. You know me.
Bro, I'm tripping. I thought somebody else joined to come on.
Man.
No intro music. Now my grandmother and them, they just call him simple-minded. Don't mind him, he's simple-minded. Don't go over there, he's simple-minded.
Hey, them grandmas was hell, man. Bro, don't mess with him.
That's what she used to say.
Don't play with him.
Don't go over there.
He ain't right.
Something ain't right about him.
Straight up, man. You never knew what that meant or what that dude could possibly do to you.
Grandma's was hell, man.
Straight up.
No way I knew what simple-minded means. Because sometimes I was simple-minded too, depending on what I did.
What about you, J-Star?
Man, I'm gonna tell you like this, man, and this I guess it kind of goes into the systematic thing, like you're saying, but y'all remember when you used to like, and I kind of do this to this day, like you used to fall as a kid or something like that, and they be like, man, get up, you little wussy, walk it off, chump.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like things like that is teaching you just to let it go. be a man about it. You know what I mean? And all those things, you know, that we used to encounter, like, you know, it started with your cousins and why you crying? It ain't nothing to cry about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
all those things, bro, I think played a role in my experience growing up, for sure.
No doubt. What about you, Gerald?
Yeah, I think I gotta say some good stuff. I think it is like I honestly think it's a serious issue in the Black community that I think, like we said, even from coming up, I call it like a suck it up culture. Like everything was all shut up, ain't no wrong with you. Like you looking at a kid, you know if a kid is off, you know if they learning slower than others, but instead of facing it and being like, you know, trying to get help, oh, ain't nothing wrong with him. That boy 4 and he ain't talking yet. Yes, it is something wrong with him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not normal. So like I don't know if they took it as like a personal shot at them, like maybe I'm a bad person because my kid like this. But yeah, man, I think, and that's not even getting into, I think stuff like PTSD and all that is, I think a lot of us suffer from that too. Just living here in Memphis, man, every time you cut the TV on, kids dying. I mean, there's kids seeing that. Like you literally seeing, like people go numb to seeing people dead. Like that's not normal. Like,
man, because you know people associate PTSD with like war. And
exactly. You hear PTSD, they think he went to war. No, like you've been seeing folks shooting up with drugs and getting shot since you were 3 or 4, and then they wonder why you blasting people at 10 or 11. Like there's something wrong with that kid.
I think you know it, bro. You paranoid at that point. You hear that, bro. You probably can tell how far it is. You know, they're like 2 blocks down.
Yeah. Man, you know the gun, the bullet, everything.
Right, exactly.
So I think it is. I think, like I said, I think we mask it. Like we were kind of laughing earlier, but I think we try to mask it in like a comical way or kind of a brush under the rug. But I definitely think it's not given the proper attention that it should.
What about you, Prize? Any personal experiences or what you experienced growing up?
Oh yeah. So for me, mental health issues are running my family. I've had individuals who've taken medication in my family for mental health issues. Stress is huge in my family. It's actually something that I deal with. You know, a lot of people don't even, you know, realize that stress is not like, oh, I'm stressed about my job.
Yeah.
You can be stressed and not even know you're stressed. That's why they do the stress test, because a lot of times people don't even recognize that they're stressed. So it's something that I personally deal with as well. I also had family members who were disabled, and then I had family members who fought in Vietnam, so they suffered from PTSD as well. So, you know, I guess I experienced all of it.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy because you got at least a little bit different experience than us from the standpoint you talk about medication. Like, man, you know, that wasn't a thing that I was exposed to. Like anybody taking certain types of medication for anything, whether it be depression, anxiety, bipolar, you know, there's medication for all that stuff. But as far as being able to recognize that and see like who was taking what, and maybe they were, but we still weren't educated on it. And, you know, I feel like now, man, you know, not being educated on that type of stuff can give you a narrow view of those, you know, disorders, which is kind of what I wanted to talk about. You know, I just pose a question to y'all, you know, let's just say your girl was like, hey, I think we should go to therapy. How would you feel? You know what I'm saying? If she said that to you, would you immediately take offense? I'm like, whoa, yo, you know, what's up with that? Or would you embrace it and see the possibility? Like,
I mean, I definitely embrace it. You know, for me, it's if I feel like if we at that point, more than likely, I'm aware that we at that point as well, whether I want to admit it or not. You know, I'd be aware that, you know, things weren't all the way right, and you know, maybe it is something that we need to talk out, talk through. So I'd be open to it.
Yeah, and I guess when I say therapy, I don't want to immediately associate that with a mental health issue, because it's not. But we do know that is one of the common treatments for mental health issues, whether it be anxiety or things like that. And those things can creep into a relationship. Those, when you know people, and I know people that suffer from anxiety and issues, with mental health issues that aren't just something that you see every day and can understand and explain, but having therapy to be able to go to, I think people a lot of times in the Black community, and it's just my opinion, may look at it in a different way and be like, man, only crazy people go to therapy or things like that. So J-Star, what if your girl was like, you should go to how would you feel about that?
But most people be like, man, like I would be probably is like, man, I ain't got no money for that. Ain't nobody to tell me what my problem is. I already know, something crazy like that, man. But I will say, kind of adding on to what Price said a little bit, stress is a direct reflection of like what can go wrong with your marriage. Like if you're stressed, or if your wife is stressed over, whatever, finances or the kids, or just being a husband or being a wife, all those things, even work, play a role in our reflection to your actual marriage. And so a lot of times we don't think about stuff like that. And so, I think it's important, I would go, to understand those things and to embrace those things, because, I don't know, I'm gonna be honest, for me, like not even having basketball right now, just to relieve some of my stress, because it's just what I love to do, and I use it as a stress reliever, and I take it out on other people, and, or whatever, and not having that during this time. And I read some statistics, like during this time of COVID-19, like the domestic abuse has gone up.
Yeah.
The number of calls to suicidal hotlines have risen.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yep. A lot of that stuff has risen. And then, that's why this is one of the most important things. Therapy should be going up.
Yeah.
At this time.
People don't have money right now for that.
That's what I was about to say. And I won't. So, Deezy, go ahead and jump in, man. What do you think? I don't want to cut y'all off, because I want y'all to give me a little feedback, what you think about, just the question I ask and your view. You personally, like, I don't want to hear no politically correct, John. You know what I'm saying? Like, you personally.
No, I agree with both of them. I mean, especially in a time like right now, it's harder than ever. I mean, millions upon millions of people are without jobs. That means they're without health care. So, just letting your kids go outside is stressful. So that turns everything into a bigger deal.
So you more open to it personally?
Personally, yes, but I also would know that that's not a direct reflection on me mentally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I'm not telling you I would feel the same if somebody said, "Hey, you are bipolar," because then I might be like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I've been living this long, like I am. Keep it moving, bro. I don't even want to hear that. So, because I don't know. I guess like a marriage counselor or a therapist would feel much different than something that people have been locked up for. You know what I mean? Like, and so I guess I would be more open because of that too.
Do you feel like they can't tell you nothing you don't already know? Because I've dealt with that one too, bro. I'd be like, man, what can they tell me?
I already feel like I'm smarter than the average person. So the answer is probably yes.
Is it?
Oh, man.
Is it?
What about you, J-Rock?
Man,
on therapy.
Today, I'm for it. Probably like 5-6 years ago, I was like, man, I ain't going to therapy. Just because, like you said, like, just because how it was molded. Like O said, therapy, you was crazy when you went to therapy. So I ain't crazy. But like I've actually, and then I got to, I actually been to therapy, like what was it, 2000, I think it was 17, like I was on a job, we got robbed. Dude come in, pull a gun out. I'm talking about straight to my head, get behind the counter. I was like, okay. So, and then like, I'm like, okay, and you naturally suck it up. I'm straight. But like, dude, when I tell you for like at least probably 2 months, like, and my desk right by the door. So, dude, I'm twitching like something wrong with me, like for real. So, like one thing I tell my teammate all the time, man, take advantage of EAP. I called them. They gave you like 5 free sessions, and like literally, it was it was weird at first, but like literally, I mean, all you're doing is basically like to me, it was an unbiased person just saying, okay, how do you feel? So to me, it seemed hard, but to me, it was easier. I thought it'd be harder, but to me, it's kind of crazy because it's easier to say how you feel to a stranger than it would be, a loved one or somebody. Because I mean, they don't know me. I don't care what she thinks. You know what I'm saying? Versus sitting there talking to your cousin or your relative, things like that. So I say, man, I'm for it, but I think it's just I don't think you can look at therapy as something's wrong with me.
Right.
You gotta look at therapy as I'm improving myself. So I mean, now don't get me wrong, Adrian coming, we need to go therapy. I'm like, nah, we can work this out. Now, last resort, like I'm finna sign these papers. Nah, they're going there.
Right.
You know
what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because, and I think on that angle, I think it's kind of the pride. Can't nobody tell me no. But then I think it's also, a lot of people don't like your flaws out in the open.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but
they don't like people knowing their business.
Right.
Yeah.
Knowing what I'm doing, whatever. So, but I'm for Nate, I'm for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it definitely isn't, I guess, a question of whether we for it or not. But I like all your responses. It sounds like to me like with this age that we got. And I'm not even sure what to attribute it to. Like, I guess just being out in the world and being knowledgeable, because I think back onto why we didn't hear these things when we were a child or a teenager or a young adult to say, somebody to put a label on it for us and kind of give us a more understanding perspective of it. Because now we got a full range of and perspective, and to be able to research and look up things. Of course, things are more readily available now too. But at the same time, you had to wonder, like, did our parents have access to like some of this information and then just didn't feel like giving it or what? But I feel like now we have an opportunity and obligation to play it forward to our kids and make them aware of just the differences of what's going on with your body. Like Price said, stress. Like, man, I'm one of the most laid back people, like a lot of people ever come across. Like they tell me that, like in the job, man, you can't shake video up. Video ain't gonna do nothing. True story. I don't get bothered by much. I don't care what a lot of people think. But from an experience that I did have, and I lost my homeboy when we was on a business trip. And like J-Rock talked about, he's had something happen on his job. Man, like, bro, like when I lost my boy and like I saw him pass away, it touched something in me that I had never felt before. Like I'm fortunate enough to not, have lost family, that wasn't old, and, just suddenly or something like that. But I lost him due to, I ain't even gonna say, but but anyway. So when that happened, bro, like I literally, like, I didn't want to go back to work, of course. But I still had that same thing J-Star said, like, suck it up. J-Rock said it too, it's all good, tough it out. But bro, I was just sitting there and I was just like, man, I got to try something. I said, man, I got to talk to somebody. Of course I talked to my loved ones. I talked to everybody. I talked to my girl. And I'm like, but I got to talk to somebody else and just see what it's about. And me personally, my experience from it wasn't bad. I spoke to her later. I probably talked to her about 3 times. But, I felt like it wasn't something that I needed. Because when I talked to her,
beforehand, you felt like it was something you didn't need?
No, after.
Okay.
Yeah, after. Beforehand, I felt like I needed to find something. But after I spoke to her, I was like, this isn't something that I personally need. I can see where somebody may benefit from it. But I found that I had enough around me to help me with what I had. what I was dealing with. So I didn't need that, and I felt fortunate from that. It at least did teach me that part of things.
Gotcha.
So the way I feel about therapy and stuff like that, I feel like it has its place. Y'all know me, man. I'm not necessarily a skeptic, but I'm a Virgo. I'm freaking analytical to a fault a lot of times, and I look at therapy in a way that basically says, if that person doesn't know me, of course they can have an unbiased opinion. They become a sounding board for me. And I don't necessarily need a sounding board to that degree. So I'm just, like I said, I'm not against it, but I've already determined for myself, and I could be wrong, that I don't need that because I found, like I said, other alternatives. But I don't want to question myself in that decision, because a lot of times people say you close-minded, things and stuff like that. But I'm okay with that decision. But do I think it's necessary in the Black community? Absolutely, man. Because like when Price said stress, man, like just bringing that, because stress can cause a number of different things. It doesn't cause one particular thing. And the fact that, you can have stress and not even know it, bro, like that's tough. Yeah, it'll kill you. It'll absolutely kill you. And just thinking about Black people in general, how living conditions are oftentimes not ideal. That's stressful. You know what I'm saying? Things you can't recognize, right? So, I don't know, man. I guess I kind of want to talk about what do y'all think some of the things, at least making people aware of it. How would that aid us? How would that help us? Like, I'm sincerely asking, because I'm not really sure, like making people aware of it, because I'm gonna say this. I also feel like it has become a crutch in 2020 when you start talking about anxiety. It's a keyword, it's a term. It's like people keying on it right now. It's legit like a hashtag. Everybody got anxiety, bro. Like, I ran into a chick in the airport that had a dog. I'm like, it was a service dog. Chick looked perfectly fine. She was like, yeah, I just told him I had anxiety and now I can take him everywhere I go. That's not fair to people that do have it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what do we do to find that balance, man? Because we know how it is right now for people to jump on a bandwagon. You know what I'm saying? So
they using masks.
So what these?
I'm saying, like, people using anxiety and stuff to not wear a mask.
Right. Ain't that crazy, bro?
It causes me anxiety. I can't wear it. It makes me break out.
That's not fair, bro.
You know what I tell them? Well, you can do your transaction, but you ain't coming in the bank. We got online banking or the ATM. Have your way.
Man, I think, bro, it kind of, I think there are several different ways. At least I found some different ways to kind of combat this. But, I think my first answer at least going to be like starting with self. And I think, I ain't gonna throw DZ on the bus, but I think we both can share the same story. And you'll know where I'm going with this in a minute, DZ. So one day I had been laying in bed, so I woke up the next day and I stepped out to go to the restroom. Stepped out, man, your boy about buckled down to the ground. I was like, knee hurting. So I was like, oh man. So I make my way to the bathroom. I walk it off, brush it off. All day long, pounding. It was hurting so bad. I put, the remedy, I think I may have sprained it or something.
Oh yeah, you already know.
You ice it down.
you already know.
you raise that jet, elevate. You do all the things that you think. And then after the third day, man, it was getting no better. And I ain't want to tell my wife because she works with me. I ain't gonna lie, that was a mistake. she like head to the ER,
My boy saw dollar signs.
All I see is dollar signs. I'm like, man, it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Man, that copay.
So I was like, man, I can't take this. So I ended up going to the doctor. I found the knee doctor, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna have to do your MRI. MRI like $900. I was like,
that's with insurance.
I was like,
My boy rather have one leg.
I was like, bro, let me think about it. Let me think about that, man. So I went ahead and got the MRI and just found out I had a sprained MCL, and which is not as bad as like a ACL tear or something like that, but it was enough to where I was probably gonna go back and start hooping again. and just fight through it, put a wrap on it and everything, and just go back to hooping again. He was like, "Yeah, you need to lay off of it for like 2 months." So I laid off of it, and I say all that to say, we are a stubborn group of people, especially as Black men. I think a lot of it starts with self. We have to get over I can just kind of deal with it, and I think there are some situations where we can just deal with it, but we have to stop self-diagnosing ourselves as, man, I'll be all right, I'll get over it, things like that. So I think of a lot of it deals with self, and the reason I bring Daisy into it, and I'll let him share if you want, but we experienced similar ailments, and became a little stubborn when it came to it. So.
Yeah.
So
I don't like going to the hospital, man. Somebody, you have to make me go. That's why I went the last time. Got to force. I had like 12 people on my phone at the same time. Like, go to the hospital, you're gonna die on that floor.
It happened.
What do you say?
I think it's kind of, we kind of have like in our culture, we have like this taboo of it being weakness.
Yeah.
When it comes to mental issues or stress or any of that stuff.
Anything.
We look at it as a weakness, like, and especially as men, it can be challenging where we, you don't want to portray no weakness. So when it comes to like going to the doctor, taking care of stuff that you need to take care of when it comes to your mental health, oftentimes we try to just, internalize it and just be like, I'll be all right, I'll ride through this. Even in the physical part, it's hurting. It's like, I'll be okay. It's not that bad. So, I think that's one thing we need to address. Just, the whole making it weakness. A weakness is not weakness. It's just you need to actually go get checked out.
So Price, I kind of piggybacking on that. It kind of goes to what I was saying about when we were young, like our older cousins saying, "Man, get up, you'll be all right." Leg probably different, going 2 different ways. And so you're taught that at an early age not to be weak. From either your dad, your cousins, or whoever was in your life.
I had an issue as well. I know J-Rock was mentioning, it's a deal with the bank. I had an issue where I went to a club with my best friend from high school, and a guy got to shooting in the club, shot 3 people, and I actually saw people, like, he lost his phone, so we had to go back in and get his phone after it was over. And, I actually saw the people on the floor bleeding, and for me, when I saw it, I just kind of took it as, okay, it is what it is. It ain't, it happened, it's over now, move on. But what I realized later on, I went to clubs and I was freaking out. I literally was in clubs checking for exits. Like, mentally just wasn't there. Like, couldn't enjoy myself anymore. Mentally, I was out of it because I was so freaked out about how the heck am I going to get out of here if something pop off.
Man, think about that though, because J-Rod made that point earlier, bro, because J-Rod gave his, bank. You talk about the club, I talk about seeing my homeboy die, bro. I had dreams for a while. Like, bro.
Dude, I saw dude face for like months, heard his
bro.
I could hear his voice. Like, I can tell you to this day, hey homeboy, get behind the counter. Like, I can
exactly, dog.
Exactly.
And you probably feel that through your body.
Absolutely.
Right now. So imagine, so we talking about one instance for each of us, not saying that's all that happened, but this one instance, bro, you talking about people that grow up in this, bro. Like, people that grow up in hard time, real tight situations, seeing your mama shoot up, seeing your pop shoot up, you know what I'm saying? Seeing your brother sell drugs on the corner, him running from the police, bro. I can't imagine, bro. That's why I tell everybody, bro, I'm blessed beyond measure, bro. You ain't got to talk to me about tithing, bro, because I'm blessed beyond measure. Like, bro, I got more than I deserve. You know what I'm saying? So I can't imagine, bro, living that. And then just thinking about these 3 instances, bro, and each of us explaining them and still feeling them today. And just in our head, just can't remove that, bro. That's strong, bro. That's powerful. Like, you know, without talking to y'all, I wouldn't have been able to put that together, just being at one instance like that. And then all of us still feeling and seeing that, bro. So that to me, just on this call right now, kind of opened up a whole nother door, because I respect the fact that this stuff is real. Like, bro, like having anxiety is real. Like, you know, you might know somebody that has anxiety and don't even know it. You know, you can be talking to that person, and being of sound mind don't make you, you know, a person that can't have anxiety. You know, you can have the most intelligent person in the world, but when they can't turn off that thinking, can't turn off that, you know, what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there. And you can tell them anything in the world. You can say, look, that can't happen because it doesn't matter, because they can't stop it. You have to respect that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like people that don't have an understanding of that, and thinking about going back to Kanye, like I say, I want to talk about it too bad, but his issue, they saying he got bipolar disorder. That's serious, bro. Like that manic episode. Yeah, man, that manic episode where you feel like, you know, everything is heightened to whatever degree, and you pretty much outside of yourself in that moment, bro. I can't imagine that, man. You know, so that, like I said, bro, that's an eye opener. Just talking about these moments, man. I feel like it's important that we do pay that forward, man. Just, you know, encouraging people to listen to the signals of their body. You know.
Well, let me ask you this: in those moments where y'all were, you know, in those situations, if someone came to you, kind of like they're doing Kanye, and said, "Hey, man, we're gonna get you some help. We realize you need help." Do you feel like you would accept it?
I would have refused it.
What about?
I know I would have.
Well, you know, y'all say, you know, y'all probably ain't been a bank. You know, bank robbery, they bring in all the FBI and all that. So they actually brought in counselors, and I did. I was like, I'm straight. Like I did. Like I said, I don't think I actually did therapy. It was like 3 weeks later.
Right. That was me too. I didn't do it till later.
It was like 2 or 3. They left their little card or whatever. I was like, no, I'm good. Matter of fact, they did like 2 or 3 touch bases. I was like, I'm straight. It was like a Thursday morning. I took that Friday off, and I was like there Monday, like, oh, I'm good, man. No way, dude. Man, looking, I'm in the car, bro. No like way. Looking and like, I'm talking like, yo, I was tripping, man. I'm like, yo, something wrong, you know?
Bro, for real.
I'll pick it back off. Vito said, man, like I said, because what you said, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, I think that was profound by you saying, even you went to therapy, but you after going, you know that it's not for you per se, because you have that strength. And I think that's absolutely true. I think it's not for everybody, but I think the people that it's for is you know, because let's just say, like, let's take our situation. Let's take my situation, and let's say, like, because I'm gonna lie, I was tripping, but let's say I totally ignored it. I'm straight. And I got 2 kids at home. Well, how you raising them? You raising them to do the same thing. So you don't even know indirectly.
Because they might not be straight eventually. Because you could have been straight eventually.
Exactly. So indirectly, I think we push that on your spouse, your kids, you know, and everybody else. And then now they're just coming up with that. And that's how I think you have generations. You have 1-2 traumatic events, and you wonder why it affects the whole thing. You wonder why it affects, like, so many people. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, I would say for me, I don't know if I would have took it then, because I was only like 19 or 20. You know, so I was young, but I do know that my reaction to it was totally different than my best friend. I mean, he pretty much was like, man, I'm going to next week.
You gotta ask who you talking to.
What a next
like, bro, I can't do it, man. Like, I mean, he was literally outside the club, like, man, I'll be back next week. Like it wasn't nothing, you know. But for me, you know, it obviously had a greater effect. I will touch a point real quick where Vito was saying how, you know, sometimes you be talking to somebody and you don't even know they experienced that. Well, all of y'all don't know that I've had panic had 2 panic attacks in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to even explain like
Mm-hmm.
what you're feeling when you're going through it. It's just like it feels like a heart attack, but you
I've
don't
had
know.
one.
You can't breathe. You don't know what's going on. Everything like
Bro,
jumpy.
I've had one, and I didn't take it that far. I ain't cutting you off, so go ahead. But I'm just telling you, I know.
Yeah, man, it's a tough thing. I had one I was driving back home from Oxford, and I can't even explain. I was just losing it. Like I had to pull over, let my wife drive because I was just shaking.
So what were you going through in that moment that led to the panic attack?
So I think for me it go back to the stress deal. Like I think that, and I don't think I knew. Like I said, I didn't know that I was stressed at all. Like we had drove all the way to Oxford on that Friday and got there. I didn't get much sleep that Friday night. That Saturday I didn't get much sleep, and then we woke up early that Sunday to go back, like really early, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So I hadn't had any sleep at all, really. And, I just think that the lack of sleep on top of the stress that I wasn't aware that was there,
Jason, I'm going to tell you, like, what price? Like, bro, I know that one I had. I didn't know at the time, but I knew the one I had was one because I was on an airplane, bro. This was early when I first got the job that I got now. First started traveling, but I hate planes. I really don't like planes to this day. I'm cool with them, but bruh, this was early on, bro. I was sleep on the plane. I was tired, granted, but I was stressed about being on the plane. Dog, that panic attack woke me up. Like, probably say you can't breathe, bro. I was like, bro, I needed a bag. Like, literally, somebody had to give me a bag. Right. I'm like, I ain't really understand why you would need that, but that just helped me. But that was the only thing that saved me, bro. I would have blacked out. I would have been out of there. I'm sure I would have woke up, but bro, I had to use the bathroom all at one time.
This is your first experience flying?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't my first one. It was just like Price said, that jam must have just built up on me, bro. And like I guess my body was just tired, and like the stress of the flight probably didn't want to go. And bro, like that junk literally woke me up out of my sleep, dog. And I was just like, bro, I'm about to be out here. I ain't know what it was. So,
man,
it's tough, man. It's tough.
That's
so
tough.
I can't imagine somebody that has to have to go through that, all the time.
Well, the reason why I asked that question because kind of touching back on the Kanye thing, people, saw that and kind of saw that experience he was having and pushed him to go to seek help or whatever. And I think part of it is as Black men especially, we don't, we touched on it. We don't want to seek that help, and we kind of push away from that help when it's given. So I was just wondering, what would you have done in that situation? And understanding that we're older now, so we're a little more knowledgeable of it, because we're in college or, young adults, not too much people can tell us, so I think age does play a factor in that.
I think if you got the right people talking to you, though, the right mentors and the right people talking to you and telling you what to be aware of, listen to your body, I think we would have listened because we were, I've always been an older guy, man, like just period, bro. It's like when I was 12 years old, I'm talking to females on the phone that's 16, 17. I'm talking all night like I'm a Mac, I just always been that guy. So I feel like
macaroni.
Basically. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that, if we like us right now, was to mentor a young group of guys and kids and Price to tell his experience, all of us tell our experiences, and us to learn more, us to research and try and tell these people listen to their bodies and things like that. I feel like we can probably get some people to listen,
Well, see, I think that goes back to what I was saying last week with the Kanye deal, and who is that person in your life that you feel like you can really go to and just talk to, and a lot of people don't have that person, or either that person is a peer and you don't really want to talk to your peer in that way, you don't want to expose that, be vulnerable to a peer. So who is that person that you can actually go to and just kind of, explain what you're going through.
So these are strong dude, you know, from a sense, like he don't really ask for no help either. Like that's been my boy for a long time, bruh. Me and D's ain't never asked each other nothing. Like I ain't never said, bro, you know, like I'm going through some stuff, man. Ain't neither one of us ever just said that. Like we might recognize it and then we'll talk to each other, but for real, just come to each other and just talking about it, bro. So like D's, man, like do you think is that I'm not saying it's a bad thing, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we turn out okay. But I'm saying, do you feel like showing that strength all the time could be a bad thing, you know what I'm saying, for people?
I mean, a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know, because I mean, that's kind of how we made it too. You know, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where your biggest strengths may also be some of your biggest weaknesses. Because like going back to what like Jay was talking about, like my grandfather was like my male figure.
Mm-hmm.
Other like, you know, like your dad and our other friend Ray, his dad, he would just go through anything. That dude,
anything.
I mean, if you don't know my grandfather, like I knew him when he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
Anything, like this dude was like in his 70s, and he's like, I'm driving, and he like throwing bales of hay into the truck while I'm driving. You know what I'm saying? Like just all day long. Like he didn't care. Nothing could bother this dude. He cut himself. He take a pocket knife and like cut the piece off. I'm like, the dude was just nuts. You know, like
Granddad's a whole new breed, bro.
Man, for real. You know, but you know, and that's the stuff I picked up from him too. But some of that is bad, I suppose, because when I went through my issue I had a few months back, a couple months ago, I felt the same way. I was like, I fight through it. I figure it out. It's all good. And I probably could have died. Probably would have died. Maybe sooner than later with the way things were. We'll talk about that stuff at another time, obviously. But you know, is it bad? I guess it can be, but it can be good too. Yeah. You know, I mean. Go ahead.
But these, I mean, I think this is a good time though, to be honest, because you know, from some of the things I was looking at before we started, you know, things that are prominent in the Black community, like diabetes or high blood pressure and stuff like that, is all stuff we should recognize and, you know, be mindful of and teach each other about. And so I know one of the things that you've been doing is kind of talking to us even about eating healthier and you know, stuff like that. So
that mental I guess Jay started saying that mental aspect kept you from, you know, seeing about yourself, you know what I'm saying, taking care of yourself. And I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, like I said, I literally had a torn ACL for 2 years. Like literally, bro. Like I heard it again. Like it's crazy, man. I heard it again and I was like, bro, all right, I'm going to chill. When I heard it the third time, I was like, bro, something ain't right. My knee ain't never been this loose, boy. So I finally
went, me about to detach.
Bro, I finally went to the doctor, man. The doctor was like, yeah, bro, your ACL is gone. Like, your ACL ain't even there. And he was like, your MCL partially torn. I was like, well, dang, that explains it.
Boy, got them DeJuan Blair knees.
Bro, straight up, DeJuan Blair, bro. No ACL in either one of them, bro. Like, for real, though, I mean, you make a very valid point, man. Like, that can affect you, bro, physically as well. And I can only imagine, you know, the deeper the mental issues, man. You know, one thing we really hadn't touched on is like how you affect others. So I'll talk about why I felt like it wasn't for me. Like, I'm not damaging to anybody else's life. You know what I'm saying? Other people are very important to me. You know what I'm saying? I really, I wasn't joking about the ties, but I made reference to that earlier. But bro, I'm a giver, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if anybody ever asks me for something, man, there's no hesitation, bro. It is what it is, bro. Like, you know, I'm still like looking at my cousin like, fam, you could have just asked me for the money instead of sending me them tight boy shirts he sent me. But that's another discussion.
Wait, what?
That's another discussion, dog. But for real, man, like, you know, I feel like if I'm not affecting other people, and again, it may be the wrong way to think. I feel like I add something to people. You know, I offer a space where they can feel, you know, trust. They can feel like what they're telling me is between us. Even if they don't feel that way, they feel like what they're telling me and they can get some help from. So not like I'm a therapist, so to speak, but I feel like I'm not hurting anybody and I'm being helpful to people and I feel okay myself. That's why I said it wasn't for me. But
would you give it out as a suggestion?
What's that, bro?
Therapy? Would you like, yeah.
That's a good question, dog. Again, I'm kind of a skeptic, bro. Like, I just feel like I would say to them, I don't have anybody to send you to, but I'm the type of guy like, dog, do your research and find somebody to talk to. You know what I'm saying? If I can't, you know, you can't come to me and talk to me and help me. I can't help you. Do your research, man, and, you know, find somebody to talk to, because I'm like, I look at them as people too, bro. Like, I went to school for computers. They went to school for therapy and minds, you know. So, you know, I'm not expecting them saying they have to have a perfect life, because that'd be dumb for me to say. But at the same time, bro, like, I don't trust everybody like that. So, you know, again, that could be an issue with them.
That's the thing.
So
it is trust. That trust thing is.
But I trust the people that I love and know. You know what I'm saying? I don't have trust issues to that level. So, like I said, I be chilling, bro. Like,
so are you just not trusting them to talk about it, or are you not trusting them to like give you advice?
Well, man, so from a sounding board, like, I feel like from a sounding board standpoint, and I understand that therapists aren't only sounding boards, but for me, bro, I talk too much. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going in there talking, I'm not going to be able to listen to them, you know, and probably I can retain information, but if I don't know you, fam, I'm questioning you. So I'm like, okay, maybe, you know what I'm saying? So, man, I just say I'm not the person for it, dog. Like, I'm too analytical, man.
I was about to say, you start analyzing what
I'm
what
too
they're
analytical,
saying,
bro. Like, I really am, dog. I like it to a fault. I really am. Like, I know I can be annoying for a lot of people, but I you know, I find ways to turn it off and, you know, do what I do.
I was just checking, just saying.
Well, man, you know, I hate to kind of hint back at some of the many of the things that I read, but this topic kind of interests me a lot. And you made reference to like trust, you know, and one of the things that I read was, you know, part of the reason Black people don't seek therapy is because they don't feel like the therapist can relate to some of the things that they're going through.
I can see that.
And you know, if they're of a different race
or religion,
that's you know, if religion, like if you don't believe in God, or if you haven't walked the shoes that I walked in, then how can I come to you for help?
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's not necessarily the case all the time, but I can agree with it and I can understand it. And so when you said, you know, trust thing, you know, I don't know if that's where you were going with it, but you know, that's part of it. That's for sure.
No, it's definitely part of it. Shoot, yeah, it's definitely part of it. I mean, I'm not the guy that's gonna talk about religion or anything or worry about race in particular, but those are definitely some factors I can see and I can understand from another person's standpoint because, you know, I'm gonna say this, bro, like Taraji P. Henson, man, she is doing something that's providing like I think free therapy, which I don't think it's a bad thing. Again, my analytical thought process hitting on what you just said, bro. I'm like, you know, that's all good and fine and dandy right now. But what happens when it's over? Because you can talk to somebody all day long, but if you're not saying, okay, the job that you're going to really does suck, and I'm gonna try to find a way to get you out of it, how can you remove that? Like, that's basically like I'm saying, like J-Rock talked about the kids having to hear gunshots. Like, he can call therapy all day long and listen to these people, but you're still not going to teach them how to cope with a gunshot or seeing somebody dead. So it's like,
Well, go ahead, Price. Sound like you about to say something.
oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that I think that therapy really is about truly understanding what it is that you're going through, you know, and just, you know, like the person that is experiencing the shotgun or the shootings, you know, really understanding what it is that they actually are experiencing
And accepting it, right?
You know, and accepting it first.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, maybe the therapist's job is not to give them the means on how to deal with it or how to get out of it,
Right.
but it's just about being able to accept, oh, this is happening to me.
That's a good point, dog. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Jay. Stop. You was first. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, you know, I think as a therapist, they can give you tools to basically like deal with a problem too. So, you know, it's whether they're telling you I think that's kind of the expertise. They're supposed to be able to help you not necessarily cope with it, but you know, how do we go from here? You know, what steps do we take from here? And you know, when people pass away, it's like, well, how do we fight this? And I think that there are tools out there that they're providing to you to help you cope with it, to help you fight it, you know, that you may not think of yourself. Go ahead, J-Rock.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because I think a couple of y'all know, but I got a life. I was gonna my ultimate goal is to be like a life coach. And I actually got a certification.
Yeah.
And that's when it discusses therapy and like the difference in it. Like for therapy, you actually do need credentials and licensing to be a therapist, but you don't necessarily need that to be a life coach. And basically the biggest thing they differentiated is, as a life coach, it just like it says, it's a coach. So Price comes to me, hey, this is my goal, this is what I want to do. And as his life coach, I'm literally just discussing that with him, and we're collectively coming up with a plan. And then, okay, this is the plan, you know, I'll see you in whatever. I think the therapy standpoint is, it's kind of that same dynamic, but I think the thing with therapy the biggest thing it's supposed to do is like, kind of like Price said, it's almost like shining a light inside you. So it's like, okay, like I think we use the gunshot thing. So it's like, okay, when I hear a gunshot, this is how I feel. Yeah. So I think therapy might be, well, you know, that's a valid reason to feel that way, because a gunshot is dangerous and whatever. Yeah. And it's like, okay, now it's getting me to the point to where I'm aware of how I'm feeling. And then I think that the other part of therapy is to find ways to, I think in cope, but it might be cope, or at least, you know, if that caused me to act this way, then these are methods I can do to bring me back down, you know, that type of thing. Right. So I think it just goes back to a self-awareness thing. Like, you know, because I mean, if I'm not receptive to it, I can go therapy all day long, and it's not gonna do anything. So, like I say, I definitely don't think it's something that you can force somebody to do.
Definitely can.
You know, I think I think we need to do a better job in our community as offering it as an option.
Yeah, I appreciate that point, man.
Like, so I mean, like, it's not an option. It's you don't want you don't do. No, some might be. So, you know, and it might be a situation where you go sit down, talk to them, and find out, you know what, I'm good. That's cool.
I appreciate I mean, I appreciate that point both of y'all made, man. Like, Price he shined a light on that, my perspective. I still have not necessarily reservations, but to be able to recognize and accept, we said that ourselves, how important that is. So in order to be able to do that, you do need somebody that is at least studied and you know, being able to recognize things that we can as regular individuals, to see that and to help them see that. So that is a very, very huge part, and I appreciate that point. But I say all that to say, in agreement with that, it also shines a light on the step that we have to take further in the Black community. because learning how to accept the bad things and recognize and see what these issues cause, that's like a tiny step in what needs to take place. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no reason for it. Go ahead, J-Star.
Well, I was just gonna say, just adding on to that piece, you guys mentioned the panic attacks. You know, you know, therapy, and you say, well, I don't know what caused it, or it just kind of happened. Well,
yeah,
a therapist could be there to say, well, what were you thinking about, helping you to understand because a lot of people don't have it just one time. They have it all the time.
Oh yeah, definitely not. And the thing about that, so just like, even with that being said, so we talking about how good and great it is, but it's people that go to therapy all the time and they still have them as well. So again, there's steps that we have to take, right? There's things we have to take. So I feel like if we catch these things early, and it's just like evolution, right? You introduce something to something and it continues to get better. So like I said, man, we talking about it as a good thing, and that's great. I really agree with everything that everybody's saying. At the same time, we can't talk about it as if it's a miracle cure and a miracle fix. I feel like we have to continue and push, just creating a more healthy environment for us and our people. So many different ways, man, to try to mitigate the need for it. I'm not saying that it'll ever go away. I think it's got its place, and it's a very important place, and very well respected by me, especially now at the age I am now and the things I've seen and people I've met. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna let y'all kind of give me y'all closing remarks, man, and just kind of speak about how y'all feel like this call, man. Like I feel like it was great. I do.
I think it's awesome. Like I said, man, I've been probably sixth grade, and of course y'all since college. And I learned something about y'all that I didn't know. So I think it was cool, man. I think and that was actually my first time ever talking about even going to the therapy. So, but I think it's cool, man. I think, of course, there's not a end all be all answer, I think, to your question as far as like what now, but because we didn't even get into it, we ain't got time for that. But because I think it is, it's systemic issues that's played a huge role.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even have access to therapy.
Right. Don't have access to the therapy. I think so many of our kids. Well, I know so many of our kids are being misdiagnosed in elementary school. Just because little Pookie won't sit down does not mean he ADHD. And now you pumping seriously, and now you pumping this medication.
Bad.
Yeah, right. Little Sarah just don't know how to reach Pookie. Like talking nice to Pookie don't work.
Right, it just don't work.
You know what I'm saying? And but that, like I said, that's a whole other thing. That's cultural difference, all that stuff. But like, that's so now, at age 5, you pumping this medication in his kid that he don't need, who knows what it's doing to his body, that type of thing. That's a whole other angle. But I think just maybe tangible, like what can we do day one? I think it goes back to kind of what we always talk about, man. I think it starts with mentorship, man. Like you said, man, having somebody to talk to. It don't have to be, maybe it can't be mom, dad, uncle. Maybe it's, deacon at church. Maybe it's the mentor at the Boys and Girls Club. Maybe, I go in our communities, you don't see any more like Boys and Girls Club and youth centers, and like, you don't see a lot of that. So I think it's getting out and getting involved, man. And you may be that one sounding board that person can talk to. So where I look at it like any other disease, man. Early detection is the key. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to catch it and at least corral it and get it under control at 7, 8, 9 versus now they grown and now you're trying to retool and rework the mind of somebody. So I think it's just, man, looking for whatever opportunities we can, man, to get out there and, like I said, one at a time, and go from there, because you never know how many that one person can reach. So that's about all I can think of as far as what we can lead this call and do. But it's definitely, I
would touch on that too.
Go ahead, brother.
I would just say, the one thing that I would take away, calm. is to make sure that we are engaging in those conversations with other individuals. You know, especially young black males being vulnerable, having vulnerable conversations. You know, I had a kid that I hooped with. You know, I just noticed that he kept coming to the gym with the same beat up shoes. You know, and he was just playing in them like over and over and over, just playing them. And he may have been about 20 years old, 21, something like that. So I'm sure he was, you know, too embarrassed to go up to somebody and be like, "Hey man, you got an extra pair of shoes, or you know, you got something I can wear, or you know." So I just went and bought him a pair, you know, and put him to the side like before we went in the gym. Took him to my car and was like, "Hey bro, you know, I got your pair of shoes. You ain't gonna tell nobody I got them for you. I ain't gonna tell nobody." You know, but having that vulnerable conversation with him, you know, I'm sure he actually going into the gym, he said, the dude looked like he was about to cry because he was like, "Man, ain't nobody ever done nothing like that."
Exactly.
You know,
Man,
to
exactly.
me, that was just like,
shoes.
was
So
like
many
over the
times
top.
I've seen it and been in that situation, bro. Like, not
Right,
that
it was just
exact
like over the
situation,
top.
but yeah.
The feeling that I had was like over the top because it was like, man, you know, this dude 20, 21, you know, and it's the first time he done had something like this happen to him.
Right. It's just it's crazy, bro. I know that feeling you're talking about, dog. Because it's several times, you know, you do something for somebody like that and you hear that response, it's just like, wow.
Right.
And Price, you know, to that point, man, you never know what, like you said, you never would know what he was going through, but you probably would never know the effect that action had.
Pair of shoes.
You know, a pair of shoes. Because he could have been like, man, if one more person say something about my shoes or anything, man.
Right. What about you, Daisy? You got something, bro?
Man, this been a good one, man. I really enjoyed it. I mean, piggyback off what J Rock said, man. I mean, mentorship. I mean, that's the whole reason why I wanted to do any of this is to try to further that. Because if you don't know, you can't grow. You know what I mean? And we've all been very fortunate to be able to learn, whether it be in school or from each other or just in life experiences. And everyone is definitely does not have the same tools to be able to learn or to have those opportunities to meet people who are genuine and really care and try to help each other out. So, you know, I feel like we got to go out here and just pay it forward.
Right.
Well said, brother.
Well, I appreciate this one too, man. One of the things that I did was speak to someone who I know is a counselor. And for anybody watching this and you feel like you're going through an issue and you need assistance, there are things or organizations out there to help you. There are hotlines. A couple of the hotlines are the National Suicide Hotline, National Domestic Violence Hotline, Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, National Depression and Bipolar Alliance and Support Alliance. And the last one it's called NAMI, NAMI, which stands for National Alliance on Mental Illness. National Alliance on Mental Illness. So, you know, these are ones that are out there. I don't know if they're specific to Texas because the counselor was licensed in Texas, but, you know, I'm sure if it's not, there are others in every state that have them. So I just want to leave it with that. There is help out there for people who need it. It's important. If you feel like you know somebody who, you know, experiencing certain things or just not seem like they're themselves or they've been through a traumatic situation and they could be loss of father or brother or sister, it affects everybody differently and it can be tough. So that's what I got.
Definitely.
Hey, don't forget, you can always reach out to HBCU too. Exactly. We'll do whatever we can.
Exactly. So, well put, guys. Accept and express your feelings, man. HBCU guys, we out.